Got a little bit of breaking news that directly affects the Seattle Seahawks. Carson Wentz is going to undergo foot surgery. That was announced by Colts coach Frank Reich just a couple minutes ago. The timetable, he is expected to miss 5 to 12 weeks. I don't think anybody should expect Carson Wentz to be starting when Seattle begins its season in Indianapolis.
Put it on the board. They're 1-0. They're 1-0 going into the year. Yeah, I will make that proclamation already because who's going to be under center for Indianapolis? I know the Seahawks have had some issues with backup quarterbacks in the past. Nope, they're 1-0.
But this is like the perfect game where they get roasted for like 400 yards from Eason, and then Eason goes into week 2 and throws like 3 picks.
Yeah, you mean the Cam Newton performance from week 2 last year? Where all of a sudden everybody comes out of it and you're like, oh, that was a huge win for Seattle, and Cam Newton is back. Cam Newton never looked as good ever again. Jacob Eason is their backup. They also have Sam Ehlinger. Nate Tepp, who is a local guy, somebody who I know, his initial reaction to it was, I have a fear that the Colts are going to make a panic trade and gift wrap a second-round pick to the 49ers for Jimmy G. Could you see Indianapolis making a trade for a quarterback? Now, with Wentz, it's a little more complicated than that because they've already given up a second-round pick, right, to acquire Wentz. That second-round pick can upgrade to a first depending on how he plays.
Yep.
I think Indianapolis has sunk too much into Wentz to move on from him right at the start. But if you made the decision to go out and get somebody else to compete with Wentz, I mean, Wentz really isn't guaranteed anything from you long term.
Did you notice this story that popped up over the weekend? And I just thought it was so delicious because it's just so this guy. Did you see Matt Nagy saying, yeah, we know there's going to be a lot of demand for Nick Foles. As soon as this story comes out, there's going to be a lot of demand for Nick Foles. Yeah, sure, with that contract.
Their third-string quarterback, right?
In Chicago, yep.
Their third-string quarterback in Chicago, the guy that they signed Turkey Bacon to be in front of. Like they went out and said, yeah, we're going to go get Turkey Bacon Dalton. He's not the real thing. Nobody knows he's the but it can hold the place, and if you're you're calorie conscious or you got some, you'll settle for Turkey Bacon. Like nobody thinks it's real bacon. It's not going to fool anybody, but it can play the part for a little bit.
The Garoppolo idea intrigues me though. And look, if he's out up to 12 weeks, which is what the report is, and they might be taking a bone out of his foot, which also sounds like it's going to be painful.
They're going to do like operation?
I guess
like,
so.
Do not touch the buzzer. Do not touch the buzzer. If you touch they're going to take a bone out of his foot?
They're going to take the wishbone out, yeah.
Do we have any unnecessary bones in our foot? I don't
we have lots of bones in our feet, so...
right, but I don't think any of them are just like, hey, you can do without that one. I was under the impression that all were important.
Well, I think they're just little, little things that are just hanging in there, right? Like, there's got to be some that are useless. Any podiatrists out there?
I don't think you can have a bone removed from. That doesn't sound like something you come back in 5 to 12 weeks from. If you had a bone removed from your foot,
well,
he's not going to be there. Does that change any of your expectation for the Seahawks? I mean, I guess it gives you an easier first game on the road.
Yeah, you won. It's over.
Yeah, it's Seattle. Seattle under Pete Carroll has typically been pretty bad on the road and road openers specifically. It's gotten a little better recently, but that's typically throughout Pete's 10 years here. They generally lose their first road game.
Yeah, true, but I mean, last year against the Atlanta Falcons, they opened
year
things
before
up.
too.
Yeah, so look, people are mad at me. It's a win, guys. Come on. Jacob Eason, he stinks.
I swear to God.
DJ's so bad. What? Am I wrong here? Am I wrong in looking at Indianapolis if they don't have a good quarterback? Like, shouldn't you win that game?
Yeah. You should have won that game if Carson Wentz is there, too. Like, you should expect that. If you went 12-4 last year and believe that you're a better team and address some of your weak comings, weird stuff happens in the first 2 weeks of an NFL season. I will say that. The first 2 weeks of an NFL season are the hardest to project, in part because you haven't seen anything happen, and in part because everybody's healthy, or as healthy as they're going to be all year.
I feel for Carson Wentz here.
Yeah. It's a bummer that he keeps getting hurt. There's lots of dudes that constantly get it. Yeah, that's a bummer. It's a bummer when an athlete doesn't get a chance to really show what he can do, and it's a hard start to his career. I also feel like there's a lot of guys in this league that have a hard time staying healthy because it's a brutal sport.
True, but how many of them have almost been an MVP, were the leader in the MVP race, and then they got hurt, and then it's somebody else, and that guy who steps in for him wins the Super Bowl, and then it's just been a bunch of weird injuries that he's had over the course of the last couple of years. And then, of course, everything just went to heck last year in Philadelphia because Howie Roseman's terrible.
He wasn't good. No, in part because he wasn't good.
No, he didn't have very much help around him. Look, I know I'm making some excuses for him.
For 2 years, he has been statistically one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
He holds the football too long. There's no doubt about it, but that guy was not in a very easy situation to win in Philly at the very end.
I feel bad for guys who, because of injuries, never get a chance to cash in. Like, that's probably who I feel worst for, is someone who suffers an injury in year 3 or year 4 that prevents them. I feel bad for Carson Wentz. I mean, he was going to be the NFL MVP. He suffers a season-ending knee injury and then watches as his backup, Nick Foles, leads the team to a title. But all in all, Carson Wentz has still gotten chances to hold on to that job. He was restored to that job when he got there, and he's gotten a huge contract. Like, if you were going to come up with Exhibit A of the guy whose career has been jobbed because of injuries, it's not Carson Wentz.
I think that the injuries are a major factor when it comes to Wentz. I really do. I mean, it's just been a lot.
Still got paid.
True.
He's still getting paid now.
That's true. He's still getting paid.
He's gotten paid for way more than he's ever achieved on the field.
So, feeling bad for him because he's getting paid, okay, maybe that's a little bit far to go. But the guy, it's not his fault that these injuries are happening.
No.
And I don't like it when guys get, I guess, blamed for getting hurt all the time. It's not his fault. And I feel like that sometimes happens with certain players. I mean, these injuries have been everywhere. Like concussions when Clowney's diving into the back of his skull. You know, like it's just been a lot of unfortunate circumstances for him.